And now to discuss this, bandit attacks and the fight against them, we're joined by security analyst and executive director, Elixir Trust Foundation, Emmanuel Ikule. Emmanuel, many thanks for joining us. What are the key considerations in coordinating an airstrike near civilian captives to avoid collateral damage?
The first thing is we'd like to first of all commiserate with the families that have lost their loved one in those areas. At the same time, it's a sad reality that even though a country is not at war, we still find ourselves in this type of situation where you are begging for your rights to be respected, your rights to life, the right to earn a living, right to even have peace. Gradually, it's becoming a very scarce resource. And unfortunately, we have been talking about same thing for a couple of years, and still we are at this particular point in time. So on the part of the security agencies or the military, I would say this is something that should have been done more often. In trying to address issues of insecurity, shouldn't be something that should be done like a one-off thing. There should be consistent intervention in such areas. But to carry out airstrike in places where there are people, it has to be calculated. And that is why persons that carry out such operations are being trained. So we expect that trained professionals should behave in a professional way. So it speaks to capacity for them to be able to do that without hurting victims as well as the perpetrators, or should I say the terrorists. But as of now, we're yet to get feedback where they are victims, should I say survivors that are actually also victims of these airstrikes. We don't know yet, because what has only been reported that to us has been that there have been airstrikes and certain persons escaped. But we don't know whether some of these persons actually also lost their life as a result of the airstrike. So that is one thing, because in Nigeria, unfortunately, there have always been cases of underreporting. So when issues like this happen, most times they give us the results that we want to hear. But the sad reality is around the happenings, most times are not shared. But we hope that this time around, it's actually for the better. And developed clients, even at different times, even military officers themselves, especially those that are retired and those that maybe have left service, have come out clearly to advise, because this has been happening consistently. If you want to carry out like an intervention or operation of this magnitude, there's need to be ground soldiers as well. As you are coming with the airstrikes, you'll also be following up with the terrorists on foot. It makes things better. It makes it easier to be able to address issues once and for all than military will go on land, spend time without no air support. They'll come back and then go and have airstrikes, and then no ground soldiers to follow suit.
Right.
This is never done. This type of operations it's unfortunate that still till date we are still carrying out this type of operations. But I'm hoping that the states can come together, and if the military also are actually willing, there's need for synergy. This is not about somebody doing better than the other person. This is not about the particular security agency doing the best of results. We are looking at peace that has become a scarce resource in the country. Can we at least work together, work with communities, work with the police, work with the local vigilantes for us to have peace? And it shouldn't just be something that we enjoy for a day. They should also become part and parcel of our lives, because a lot of children now don't know what is called peace.
All right.
And that's the sad reality for our country.
Emmanuel, I have to ask you about, local intelligence as well. Where does that play in all of this grassroots intelligence and intel from residents who are around that area to sort of help with this type of operations?
The need for intelligence cannot be overemphasized, especially at operations like this. That is why they have always, and some of us with our kind of work, we have always tried to advocate for that policing-community relationship, which is something that have been lacking over time. And it has also been part of the bend for failure to actually achieve good results in the area of policing. Citizens, the duty of policing does not just rest on just law enforcement officers. It's the duty of the citizens and law enforcement officers working together for a common good of the country. If that happens, then there are always better results, because the communities, people that live in such communities have better knowledge of first-hand information of happenings in such communities. And most of the time, if they're not open up the situation to security agencies coming to their communities, they will fail. And sometimes they will also need the security agencies themselves, occasionally may even need the services or help or assistance, even locals, for them to even achieve good results in such locations.
Right.
So it cannot be overemphasized. That is why the duty of security, securing lives and property, does not just lie in the hands of security agencies, but for all of us, and we all have a role in supporting those in the field for them to get that desired results, because
right.
everybody benefits from that.
I must ask you, right, we have 62 that have now escaped, suspects who have now escaped. And one has to ask at this point, what that entails is that there's most likely going to be a retaliation by the bandits. And so what about immediate security measures that can be implemented to sort of prevent, an abduction, or rather, should I say, a retaliation from these bandits?
Okay, so there are a couple of things that should be done. Particularly, I will say on the part of those that have been rescued, or should I say those that escaped, and then from the part of actually also securing the particular environment that this airstrike happened. The first thing is persistent presence. If you carry out such attacks, you don't just leave, because you know that there's possibility of also retaliation. So there's supposed to be persistent attack, persistent presence. The army have to show accountability by being around to defend such communities. There's supposed to also be targeted arrests, because as a result of the airstrikes, there are some leaders or some of these persons that will be around such communities. And they have to be fished out now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow may be too late. So the military have to go in now and try to get such persons. There's a need also for early warning. Sometimes before this type of interventions or operations, we enlighten such communities so that they'll know how to relate, and also how to share information without being pointed out in times of retaliation. School environments, markets environments should also be policed. And sometimes, as serious situations, sometimes depends on how serious it is, there should be a little curfew around that area to also limit casualties, even if there's a form of retaliation. There's also need for survival care for those that have escaped. And then there's another critical thing. Sometimes in operations like this, some of the bandits may also try to hide themselves, as if they are also victims. But most times, that is why there's need for health counts by the military to ascertain that those that actually escaped are not also members of the terrorist group.
Right.
This is very, very critical.
Very
times
critical.
Like this.
Right. Emmanuel, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Emmanuel Ikule there. He is part of Elixir Trust, who have given us a bit of insight regarding the Katsina security as 62 victims, kidnapped victims, escape after an airstrike. Once again, Emmanuel, many thanks. We appreciate you for coming on.